Hi Founder fans, Jason here, and today we're going to be talking about Nathaniel Gorham and the Committee of the Whole. Now, at the Continental Congress, the first thing they did when the delegates got together, at least a quorum of delegates got together, is they elected a chairman. That chairman, of course, was George Washington. Now, the chairman's job was to oversee the debates while the congressional meetings were assembled. However, like most parliamentary bodies, and even like our Congress today, the Continental Congress, to resolve several separate issues simultaneously, would elect committees. And each committee would get a chairman, and they would go and, this committee would work on this bill, and this committee would work on this law, and this committee would work on this appropriation, and such and so forth. And then the committee would report back to Congress on their decision, and they'd make a recommendation. And then Congress would vote on the committee's recommendation. Now, they made a certain committee. There's one committee that's still often used today. It's called the Committee of the Whole, and it's a parliamentary procedure where it's a committee. It's not the actual Congress, but it's a committee made up of everyone in Congress, and the Continental Congress had a Committee of the Whole. And the purpose was so that, I have a quote here from author Richard Beeman, who wrote Plain Honest Men, which is one of my favorite books about the Constitutional Convention, because it looks at the lives of the founder outside the convention. I'll put an affiliate link in the description below if you're interested in it. I really love the book. I personally recommend it. Look, it's right on top. It just so happens to be right on top. I've read it several times. It's a great book. And Richard Beeman says, referring to the Committee of the Whole, this strategy gave the delegates the opportunity to measure the relative strength of opposing opinions on particularly contentious issues and, when appropriate, to change their minds as they groped their way towards compromise and consensus. Yes, it gave you the opportunity to speak because anything said in committee was not officially on record. So you could say on a committee, hey, maybe we should have a king, and everyone would go, no, boo, and then you could say, okay, never mind, and no one would have to know about it. But it gave you the opportunity to come up with bold ideas that might be shot down, but think outside the box a little bit without having to think rigidly about politics. So, the Constitutional Convention, at the time they called it the Philadelphia Convention, they came together and they elected George Washington to be chairman of the convention, and then immediately elected someone to be chairman of the Committee of the Whole. And that person was Nathaniel Gorham. Nathaniel Gorham of Massachusetts, who for most of the Revolution had worked within Massachusetts state. But eventually in the 1780s, he was sent to the Continental Congress. Historically, under the Articles of Confederation, we usually refer to it as the Confederation Congress, or the Congress of the Confederation. A lot of Congresses. But he was basically chairman. He went to the Continental Congress and he was elected president of the Continental Congress. And when the Constitutional Convention convened, Nathaniel Gorham was the last person to have been president of the Continental Congress. So when they looked for a chairman of the whole, Nathaniel Gorham was an obvious choice. They had seen him run Congress. They knew he could handle running Congress. Additionally, he was already a high-level Massachusettsian. He was up high in Massachusetts politics. That's why he was sent to this convention. And he was moderate. He was moderate and undecided on a lot of issues, which was a very important thing at the time because some people really wanted a nationalist government. Other people showed up from states like New York and said, what do you mean one nation? No. And as someone in the middle, both politically and undecided, he was a great person that they already knew could handle the responsibility. And he was loaded with a lot of responsibility because for almost the first entire month of the convention, they'd start the day by Washington taking his seat, submitting that they go to the Committee of the Whole, standing back up and walking away, and Nathaniel Gorham sitting down. And for the first month and several times thereafter, Nathaniel Gorham ran the Constitutional Convention. Yeah, wrap your head around it. It's hard to believe that he's not more famous right now for this amazingly important role he played, especially because he was the moderator. He was the one who, when everyone wanted to speak, he was picking who spoke next, and he had to be very wise about who he chose, because how long they might speak and what they might say. And now we have to go to someone who's going to weigh the other side, and we're going to have to, now let's go to someone that was a little feisty. Let's go to someone who's more calm when they speak. These are all very important. These are still important things today in government, but at this stage where some people in the room were ready to build a nation and others in the room were very much against building one nation, Nathaniel Gorham oversaw the creation, at least a substantial portion of the creation, of the United States Constitution. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Of course, if you liked it, make sure you hit like on the little thumbs up down there. Leave me a comment if you have a question or a suggestion. I would love to hear it. And other than that, I hope you have a great afternoon, and I look forward to talking to you tomorrow.